Extra Mile. I'm Linda Boudreau. Our guests today are Marietta Puckett and Rose SEACH. They are with Nami Acadiana, and we're going to be talking about Nami, what it is, and about the upcoming Nami Walk. So welcome, Marietta and Rose. It's good to have both of you here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
And as you say, both of you are board members for Nami and volunteering as walk committee members and have been really working hard to get this walk up and running. That would be true, yes?
Yes,
Yes.
very much so.
Yes.
It takes a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. But let's go ahead before we get into the walk itself and talk about NAMI, because my guess is that there are a lot of people out there who do not know what NAMI is. So what is it?
NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's a national organization, as the name indicates. But it has 1,100 or plus affiliates in the state and local areas. And so it is really in every state of the U.S. And it is in existence since '79.
Oh, okay. So it's been around for a long time.
A long time, yes.
Now, NAMI started off as a grassroots organization for families. Am I right about that?
Correct. For
So-
many, many years. It was just for families and caregivers, friends.
So why do you think that is, that a grassroots group would organize to help support the families and friends of people with mental illness? You would think it would be to help support people with mental illness. So.
Well, I think early on there was, as there were some resources for persons with mental illness, whereas there was nothing for families or friends, as far as education and support. So that's probably how it came into existence. But then over the years, they realized that individuals with mental illness also need this type of organization. And so that we both work together now. The families, friends, individuals with mental illness on national, state level, and local level.
Okay, so it's really kind of coming together in a more holistic manner now
Yes.
that we've had some time. And also, I was just thinking, mental illness doesn't just affect the patient or the person with mental illness. It really does affect the family. It affects friends. It affects the community. And I guess that's one reason why NAMI and supporting NAMI is so important.
Right, exactly. It actually affects 1 in 4 individuals with mental illness, and that includes 1 in 5 families. So it is very widespread, and probably it is one of the most, let's say, lesser known illnesses that is vast across the nation, that people don't recognize as an illness, as a disorder, just as heart disease and cancer, and could actually maybe even be more so than other diseases.
Because
in the
it
nation.
has far-reaching and long-term devastating effects sometimes,
Yes.
and it just comes loaded with stigma and all that kind of stuff. So, is a part of what we're trying to do, and certainly part of what I would like to do in today's show, even is kind of do a little stigma busting if we can,
Awesome.
and,
Definitely.
and remind people that mental illness is just that. It's an illness.
It is a biological illness, yes.
It's not a character flaw, and it ain't
No.
your mama's fault. So.
Right.
That's it.
Let's just get on with that. So what does NAMI do?
NAMI provides programs, free programs, besides advocating, okay? I mean, it advocates across the country for laws that protect people with individuals with mental illness. But not just for laws, advocating for, the rights, the freedoms that individuals with mental illness deserve, just as any person, does. And also, our programs are aimed mostly at education and support, but also, as the walk is, advocacy also. And our organization is really participating and trying to grow and trying to get volunteers to be trained for these programs.
Okay, because we can't offer programs if we don't have people to teach them.
Right.
Now, Rose, you've been involved, if I remember correctly, with the Nami Acadiana group really since the beginning or very near the beginning. How did you get involved?
I got involved with my neighbor. Her son was diagnosed, and she was invited to go to Girard Park because Nami Acadiana was holding like an open house. And that's how I got involved. While she was busy walking around, getting information and learning. Actually, that's how I met Marietta, but don't realize it till later. I saw a volunteer booth, and she was looking for volunteers. And a lot of places don't let you volunteer unless you know something already. And she didn't mind. She wanted help. And so that's how I said, I'll find out more about this, and can I do this? And she took me on board, and it's been interesting. I've learned a lot. There's stuff I didn't know about mental illness. I've watched my neighbor's son and watched him since he was little, and watched the changes, but still didn't know how do you talk with him even now, and how do you relate now, and it's been interesting. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot how to even be around him.
And I think part of what you said that's important for people to know is that these are skills that we can learn. I think we think we're supposed to just be born knowing how to communicate with people with mental illness or do all kinds of things, but a lot of things are skill-based.
Because I found once he got diagnosed, things changed in him also. So things that you usually would have done together or said, sometimes even the tone of your voice has to change. Things have to change because he's changing. And Nami helped me learn how to change with him.
Wow. That's big. That's huge. So Marietta, and I know you've been involved with Nami for a good while now.
Yes, Nami's actually been in the Lafayette area for probably over 20 years. I wasn't around when it first started, but I did get involved because my son has mental illness, and I would go to the support groups, and there was an education course at that time called Journey of Hope, and Della and Harold Trahan were involved in and teaching it and handling the support groups weekly. And so that went on for probably 16 years plus, And we just reorganized recently to incorporate some of the newer programs that NAMI National has so that we can bring that to our community also.
And I do want to put in a pitch again to our community that if you're interested in mental illness, this is a wonderful way for you to find out more about it and to help, because the new programming is pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is. There's 8 or 9 programs that individuals that volunteer are trained to facilitate or to teach. For example, we have a family-to-family class, which is a 12-week class that is facilitated by Karen and Steve Dubois. And it also, and Marion Punch is also trained to teach that class. And individuals that go through those 12 weeks are just transformed.
They are.
They come out understanding more of what mental illness is, more of how to cope, with themselves and individuals with their family member that they love. And so it is, you hate to be bragging so much, but it is.
Please
It
brag.
really is. From what the comments, I have not taken it myself, but guess what? I probably will one day soon, because I feel like even though you don't ever know enough. You don't ever. You can always be learning something, and but everybody says how it has really changed their lives and helped.
And we could use more people to get trained in family to family, couldn't we?
Yes, we could. And we just recently had 2 trained in a basics class, which teaches parents and caregivers of children and adolescents. And it's a 9-week class, similar to family, and
but
we'll
for
have
younger people in a shorter time commitment.
Right, and we'll have our first basics class this coming year. So, we will have another we have a family to family going on right now, and our next family to family class will start in January.
Okay, so people that might be interested can contact the office and
Yes.
reserve a spot
Right.
any time they want to.
And they'll be looking for individuals who, who want to join this class, because they can only take like 15 or 16 at a
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
so.
Now, part of what the money raised in the walk is used for is to help get people trained, right?
Right.
Yes.
Because these programs are free
To the general
to
public.
the general public.
But it does cost to get people trained. I mean, we have to send people out of state. We have
Correct.
to pay
Right.
per diems. We
Mhm.
have to buy materials, those kinds of things.
Right.
So the money raised at the walk really helps us get these programs up and running and more trainers and free.
And that's what we want it to be. It has to be accessible, or it doesn't really do us
Mhm.
too much good. What are some of the other programs, Marietta, that we have?
There's a support program, there's a family support program, and a connection support program. The connection is for people with mental illness, and it is actually facilitated by a person with mental illness that has been trained. And this individual is in recovery, and the support group, is mainly to help people either move more towards recovery or stay in recovery,
Okay.
and help also support at the same time, and our both of those are twice a month on the first and third Sundays of every month.
Okay. So these are available now to people, or when do we have to wait for new classes to start?
No, those support groups are available now.
Okay. How do
Yes.
people get to go?
They can just walk in. They don't even have to call anybody. They are held at the First Lutheran Church at the present time, and we thank the First Lutheran Church very much for the facility.
Yeah. And it's a nice facility.
Yes, it is. It is on East Farrell Road,
Mhm.
off of Ambassador Caffrey, between Academy and Coles. There's a street.
Is it Settlers Trace?
Settlers Trace
Yeah.
extends that way, yes. And at the end of Settlers Trace, it curves to the right, but to the left is the First Lutheran Church, and that's where it's located. And it's held, like I said, on the first and third Sundays, and it's from 6 to 7:30.
Okay.
And if I might, I'll give the phone number for Karen, who coordinates our education programs. Her phone number is 654-2138.
Okay, so somebody could just call 654-2138 and talk to her and get information.
Yes, of course, that's 337. It's
Yeah.
Lafayette.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, I just need to say, I mean, Karen is a volunteer, and she makes herself available to help support.
She takes all of our
people.
phone calls for the organization. Yes.
And that just, again, goes to show the level of commitment that the volunteers, because everybody volunteers for this,
Yes.
that the volunteers have to try to make this a better and, I think, safer community for us all.
Right.